Thanks to a grant from the People's Bank Foundation, the Latrobe Mission is getting an outside facelift. The organization has been working to improve its facilities to better serve the community. While the inside of the building was recently updated, the outside is still in need of work. Executive Director of the mission, Michelle Beers, says the grant from the People's Bank Foundation will allow the beautification of the outside of the building to match the tremendous work that has been put into improving the facility. The building will receive a fresh coat of paint and brand new signs to promote the mission's growth and expansion within the neighborhoods that they serve.
The grant donation is for $6,000 and is going to facilities upgrades at Latrobe Mission, specifically to help paint the exterior of the building.
First of all, you don't want it to be an eyesore in the community, right? So it's always about, beautification for our community, but also you want it to be inviting for our volunteers that come in, the agencies, the guests that we have stay here. We want to give them, sort of a validation, like you're worth it. Right? You have value, and so us providing for you the nicest place that we can is what we're going to try to do.
Beer says she connected with local community resource advocate Moon King to secure a painter for the project. Chris Sullivan agreed to paint the mission for substantially less than the original company who provided the first estimate. Beer says this allowed the People's Bank Foundation the ability to approve the grant and set the project moving forward.